My friends, listen to me today. There is a problem among us, and it's disguised as something good. We've been told to be kind to everyone, to always say yes, to never offend, to never stand our ground. We've been taught that love means being agreeable, that kindness means allowing anything, and that peace means silence. But I tell you today, that is not the truth. Some of you are exhausted, not because you're doing too much, but because you're carrying too many people who were never meant to go where you're going. You're weighed down by the expectations of others, drained by relationships that take but never give, and weakened by a kindness that is costing you your purpose. And you wonder why you feel empty. You wonder why you feel lost. You wonder why your strength is failing. Kindness is good. Love is powerful, but not when it comes at the expense of truth. Not when it forces you to compromise who you are. Not when it allows toxic people to keep draining you, manipulating you, using you. Some of you have been so focused on pleasing people that you've forgotten to stand up for what is right. You have let people walk all over you in the name of kindness. You have excused bad behavior, ignored warning signs, and stayed silent when you should have spoken up. All because you were afraid of being unkind. But I tell you today, love does not mean tolerance of evil. Love does not mean enabling those who refuse to change. Love does not mean sacrificing your own well-being for people who are only using you. Sometimes, the most loving thing you can do is say no. Sometimes the kindest thing you can do is walk away. Sometimes real love means setting boundaries. You must decide today, will you live for approval or will you live for truth? Will you keep allowing yourself to be drained or will you rise up and take back your strength? Stop being kind to everyone who demands your energy but refuses to respect your value. Stop letting guilt keep you in places you were never meant to stay. Stop allowing fear to silence your voice when you were meant to stand firm. Because kindness is not weakness, love is not passivity, and peace is not the absence of conflict, it is the presence of strength. Stand up, walk away from what is not meant for you, and stop being kind to those who only seek to take advantage of you. Kindness is a virtue, but when it begins to cost you your purpose, it becomes a burden rather than a blessing. Too often, people mistake kindness for obligation, believing they must always say yes, always be available, and always accommodate the needs of others, even at their own expense. This mindset, though well-intended, can lead to exhaustion, resentment, and ultimately, a loss of direction. When kindness begins to interfere with your calling, it is no longer kindness. It is self-sabotage. Many people live their lives trying to be everything for everyone, stretching themselves thin in an effort to maintain peace and please others. They say yes when they should say no. They stay in places they have outgrown. They tolerate mistreatment under the false belief that patience and understanding will eventually change things. And over time they find themselves drained, disconnected from their true purpose, and wondering why they feel so unfulfilled. There is nothing wrong with being compassionate, but compassion should not come at the cost of your own well-being. You were not placed on this earth to be a doormat for those who refuse to respect you. You were not created to carry burdens that do not belong to you. You were not meant to give endlessly while receiving nothing in return. The moment your kindness begins to rob you of your passion, your energy, and your focus, it is no longer kindness. It is a distraction. Some people will take advantage of your good heart. They will keep asking, keep taking, and keep expecting without any concern for how it affects you. They will make you feel guilty for setting boundaries, for saying no, for prioritizing yourself. But you must recognize that not everyone is entitled to your kindness. Not everyone deserves your time, your effort, or your energy. And if being kind to them means sacrificing your own purpose, it is time to walk away. You have a calling, a destiny, and a responsibility to fulfill it. But if you allow yourself to be consumed by the demands of others, you will never reach the place you were meant to be. Too many people look back on their lives with regret, realizing they spent years catering to others while neglecting their own dreams. They were so afraid of disappointing people that they failed to become who they were meant to be. It is not selfish to protect your purpose. It is not wrong to put yourself first when necessary. The people who truly care about you will respect your need for space, your right to say no, and your decision to follow your own path. Those who guilt you for setting limits were never for you in the first place. Kindness should empower you, not enslave you. It should be an extension of your strength, not a sign of your weakness. When you give out of a full heart, when you serve with wisdom and balance, your kindness becomes a powerful force. But when it is forced, drained, or taken for granted, it ceases to be kindness and becomes a liability. Evaluate where your kindness is going. Ask yourself if it is leading you closer to your purpose or pulling you further away. If it is costing you your peace, your passion, and your potential, then it is no longer serving you. You must be willing to let go of relationships, obligations, and commitments that keep you from the path you are meant to walk. The world needs your purpose more than it needs your people-pleasing. It needs your strength more than it needs your overcommitment. And if your kindness is keeping you from fulfilling the reason you were created, then it is time to make a change. Love is one of the most powerful forces in the world, but it is also one of the most misunderstood. Too often, love is confused with enabling, with constantly excusing, tolerating, and accepting harmful behavior in the name of patience and understanding. People believe that if they truly love someone, they must endure anything, forgive everything, and never walk away. But that is not real love. That is self-destruction. True love does not mean allowing others to mistreat you, drain you, or take advantage of your kindness. Real love has boundaries, accountability, and wisdom. Many people find themselves trapped in relationships, whether romantic, familial, or friendships, where they constantly give but receive nothing in return. They keep hoping the other person will change. They make excuses for their actions. They cover for their mistakes, smooth over their wrongdoings, and stay silent when they should speak up. They tell themselves that love is about patience, that love is about endurance, that love is about second chances. But they fail to realize that love, in its purest form, does not mean allowing someone to continue down a destructive path while you suffer in the process. There is a difference between supporting someone and enabling them. Support encourages growth, change, and responsibility. Enabling, on the other hand, allows dysfunction to continue unchecked. When you love someone, you want the best for them. But wanting the best for them does not mean allowing them to use you as an emotional crutch. It does not mean shielding them from the consequences of their action. It does not mean carrying burdens they refuse to carry themselves. Real love challenges people to grow. It holds them accountable. It refuses to let them stay in the same cycles of toxicity, manipulation, and poor decisions. Love that enables is not love at all. It is fear. Fear of conflict, fear of rejection, fear of losing a relationship. People continue to tolerate unacceptable behavior because they are afraid that if they set boundaries, they will lose the person they care about. But the truth is, if a relationship cannot survive healthy boundaries, then it was never built on love in the first place. Some people will take your love for granted. They will mistake your kindness for weakness and assume that no matter what they do, you will always be there. They will keep crossing the line because they know you will keep redrawing it. They will keep taking because they know you will keep giving. But love does not mean allowing someone to drain your energy, your peace, and your well-being. Love is not meant to leave you exhausted, broken, and questioning your worth. If someone truly loves you, they will respect your boundaries, honor your efforts, and appreciate your presence rather than exploit it. It is not unkind to say no. It is not wrong to expect respect. It is not selfish to protect your heart, your mind, and your well-being. Love that does not respect your dignity is not love at all. You cannot pour from an empty cup, and you cannot continue to give to someone who only takes without any intention of changing. Many people confuse unconditional love with unconditional tolerance. Loving someone despite their flaws is not the same as allowing them to mistreat you. Forgiving someone does not mean allowing them to continue hurting you. You can love someone from a distance. You can wish them well without allowing them to continue playing a destructive role in your life. You can care for someone without compromising yourself in the process. Love requires wisdom. It requires the strength to walk away when necessary. It requires the courage to speak the truth, even when it is uncomfortable. Love is not about making life easier for someone at your own expense. It is about helping them become better, stronger, and more responsible. And sometimes the most loving thing you can do is let go. No matter how hard you try, you will never be able to please everyone. You can give your best effort, offer your time, and go out of your way to be kind, yet there will always be someone who finds fault, who misunderstands your intentions, or who simply does not appreciate what you bring to the table. Living for the approval of others is an exhausting and endless pursuit, one that will leave you drained, frustrated, and disconnected from your true purpose. The truth is, if you try to be everything for everyone, you will end up being nothing to yourself. Many people spend their lives seeking validation, constantly adjusting their actions, words, and decisions to fit the expectations of those around them. They say yes when they want to say no. They shrink themselves to avoid offending others. They sacrifice their dreams in an effort to fit into someone else's version of who they should be. But no matter how much they try to please, there will always be critics. There will always be those who think you are too much or not enough. There will always be someone who disagrees with your choices, disapproves of your path, or simply does not see your worth. You cannot live your life based on the opinions of people who will never walk in your shoes. The weight of their expectations will crush you. Their constant need for approval will drain you. And worst of all, trying to make everyone happy will keep you from fulfilling the unique purpose that is meant for you. There is a difference between being kind and being controlled. There is a difference between considering others and allowing them to dictate your every move. Living to please others will keep you trapped in fear. Fear of rejection, fear of failure, fear of disappointing those around you. But the moment you realize that no matter what you do, some people will still disapprove, you find freedom. Not everyone will understand your journey. Not everyone will agree with your vision. Some people will criticize simply because they do not have the courage to do what you are doing. Some will try to hold you back because your growth makes them uncomfortable. Others will try to guilt you into staying the same because they benefit from your willingness to please. But the hard truth is, not everyone is meant to support you. Not everyone deserves a say in your decisions. And not everyone is meant to walk with you on your path. If you live for applause, you will die with disappointment. If your worth is based on external validation, then every criticism will shake you. Every rejection will wound you. And every disapproving voice will make you question yourself. But when you stop seeking approval, when you let go of the need to please, you become unstoppable. You become bold in your decisions. You become confident in your direction. And most importantly, you become free to live the life you were created for. Some people will misunderstand you. Some will judge you unfairly. Some will talk about you, question your motives, and doubt your choices. Let them. Their opinions do not define you. Their approval does not determine your value. And their rejection is often just redirection towards something better. You are not meant to live in the shadows of other people's expectations. You are meant to shine, to lead, to grow, and to fulfill a purpose that is far greater than human approval. The moment you stop trying to please everyone is the moment you start truly living. You will lose some people along the way, but the ones who remain, the ones who love you for who you are, not for what you do for them, are the ones who truly matter. You were never called to make everyone happy. You were called to be true to yourself, to walk your path with courage, and to pursue your purpose without apology. When you embrace that truth, you no longer live for approval. You live with conviction, with strength, and with the freedom to be exactly who you are meant to be. Walking away is never easy, but sometimes it is the right choice. Too often, people stay in situations that no longer serve them, hold on to relationships that drain them, and remain in environments that stunt their growth. They convince themselves that staying is a sign of strength, that endurance is the same as loyalty, that walking away is a sign of failure. But the truth is, walking away is not weakness. It is wisdom. It is recognizing that some battles are not worth fighting, some people are not meant to stay, and some seasons are meant to end. There are moments in life when staying does more harm than leaving. When a situation constantly robs you of peace. When a relationship takes more than it gives. When your environment suffocates your growth. Walking away is not abandonment. It is self-preservation. It is choosing to protect your mental, emotional, and spiritual well-being instead of clinging to something that no longer aligns with where you are meant to go. Too many people remain in toxic situations out of fear. Fear of the unknown, fear of disappointing others, fear of starting over. But fear is not a reason to stay in a place that is draining the life out of you. Sometimes love is not enough to hold something together. You can love someone deeply, but if the relationship is filled with disrespect, dishonesty, or constant pain, love alone will not fix it. You can love a job, but if it is destroying your mental health, no paycheck is worth the cost of your peace. You can love a dream, but if it is no longer aligned with your purpose, holding on to it will only slow you down. Love should never come at the expense of yourself. And when staying requires you to sacrifice your happiness, your dignity, or your well-being, it is time to walk away. People will tell you that quitting is failure, that letting go means giving up, that strong people endure no matter what. But strength is not measured by how much suffering you can endure. Strength is knowing when something is no longer right for you and having the courage to leave. Some of the greatest breakthroughs come when you finally walk away from what is holding you back. You cannot make room for new opportunities, new relationships, or new growth if you are still clinging to something that is keeping you stuck. Walking away does not mean you didn't care. It does not mean you didn't try. It does not mean you failed. It means you have chosen yourself. It means you refuse to stay in a place where you are not valued, appreciated, or growing. It means you are making space for something better. Not everyone will understand your decision. Some will judge you, question you, or try to make you feel guilty. But you are not responsible for making others comfortable at the expense of your own well-being. There comes a point when staying becomes more painful than leaving, when the weight of a situation becomes too heavy to carry, when the cost of staying is greater than the fear of leaving, when your heart knows it is time. Listen, ignoring that feeling only prolongs the inevitable. Holding on out of guilt or obligation only delays your healing. The longer you stay in something that is not right, the further you drift from what is. You deserve peace. You deserve relationships that uplift you, environments that support you, and a life that fulfills you. If something is constantly draining, hurting, or limiting you, you have the right to walk away. And when you do, you will realize that walking away is not about giving up. It is about choosing better. It is about choosing yourself, your peace, and your future. Walking away is not always easy, but sometimes it is the best decision you will ever make. Kindness is often mistaken for weakness. People assume that being kind means being passive, being agreeable at all times, or allowing others to take advantage of you. They see kindness as a lack of strength, a lack of assertiveness, a quality reserved for those who are too soft to stand their ground. But true kindness is not weakness. It is one of the greatest forms of strength. It takes courage to be kind in a world that can be harsh. It takes discipline to respond with grace when others are rude. And it takes wisdom to know when kindness means standing firm rather than giving in. Weakness is bending to everyone's demands, allowing others to mistreat you, or sacrificing your own well-being just to avoid conflict. That is not kindness. That is a lack of boundaries. Kindness does not mean always saying yes. It does not mean tolerating disrespect. It does not mean remaining silent when you should speak up. A truly kind person is not one who allows themselves to be walked over, but one who chooses to treat others with respect while still standing strong in their own values. There is a difference between being kind and being a people pleaser. Kindness for an open invitation to take advantage of you. They assume that because you are kind, you will always be available, always be forgiving, always be willing to overlook their wrongs. But kindness is not foolishness. Kindness recognizes when a relationship is one-sided. It sees when someone is using it for their own benefit. And it has the strength to walk away when necessary. Being kind does not mean you lack a backbone. It does not mean you are weak-willed or unable to defend yourself. In fact, some of the strongest people are those who remain kind despite what they have been through. It takes true strength to stay kind in a world that can be selfish. It takes strength to choose patience when it would be easier to respond with anger. It takes strength to offer kindness to those who may not deserve it. Weakness reacts impulsively, with bitterness, with resentment. Strength chooses kindness even when it is not easy. Kindness is power. It has the ability to change situations, to diffuse conflict, to build bridges where there are walls. But it must be paired with wisdom. You cannot pour kindness into people who only take advantage of it. You cannot continue giving to those who do not respect you. There is nothing kind about allowing yourself to be mistreated. True kindness knows when to step back. It knows when to stop back. It knows when to stop giving where there is no appreciation. It knows that self-respect and kindness go hand in hand. People will test your kindness. Some will mistake it for weakness and try to push your limits. Others will assume that because you are kind, you will tolerate anything. But the strongest kindness is the kind that stands firm. It does not allow others to dictate its worth. It does not allow guilt to keep it trapped in unhealthy situations. It knows that being kind does not mean being naive. It means being wise enough to know where to invest your energy. Choosing kindness is not always easy. It requires patience, strength, and self-control. It means resisting the urge to respond with anger, even when it is justified. It means showing grace while also protecting your boundaries. It means knowing that true strength is not in how harsh you can be, but in how well you can hold on to your kindness without losing yourself in the process.